Well, hello and welcome to this step 2, part 2, week 2 of our autumn cleanup, which is a 5-part online coaching course, and it's actually the second in this series. So if you've stumbled upon this video and you've not gone through the first lot, which is the spring cleanup, then hit the pause button, head back there and get involved. Anyway, step 2, week 2, part 2, session 2 of the autumn cleanup is all about the idea of giving and receiving. And really what we're talking about is the flow of energy. The flow of energy. What energy? What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about wealth, we're talking about happiness, we're talking about affection and attention, we're talking about love, we're talking about anything that exchanges between two people or two things, or between a person and a thing. So what is this about? Well, it kind of follows on from an earlier notion that we started to talk about, which is this attitude of gratitude. An attitude of gratitude. And when you are thankful for stuff, more stuff comes to you to be thankful for. So I'm going to recap a little bit. If I, as the giver of gifts, give something and that person receives it graciously with a big thanks, then I, as a giver, am quite happy to give more. So just think about that for a second. How do you feel when you give something to someone and they don't appreciate it? Are you encouraged to give them more, or are you resistant to giving them? And likewise, when you receive something and you get really excited and grateful for it, does more stuff come along that then makes you feel the same? So that's the idea, is that giving and receiving are actually part and parcel of the same flow or exchange of energy. Now, we're all about abundance. Abundance of what? Abundance of wealth, abundance of health, abundance of happiness, abundance of love, abundance of attention. And we can clump all of that together in a word we call affluence. And affluence comes from the Latin affluere, which means to flow to. Now, there is an abundance of energy, there's an abundance of attention, there's an abundance of wealth, there's an abundance of food. We just have to figure out a way to latch into that and how we can draw it to us. And gratitude, and the attitude of gratitude, is certainly one of them. So, giving and receiving, they are the same, or the two halves of the same principle, which is this flow of energy. So let's visualize a river. So the river flows, okay? If you want to use the energy from that river, you have to latch into it. So let's think about a, what do they call that, not a windmill, a water mill, okay? Like a corn mill. So what they do is they latch into the energy of that river and use the flow to drive the wheel. Now, if we take that same river and we funnel it off and we create a lake from that, which is great, we get an abundance of that water. However, if we stop the flow of it, what happens to that lake? Well, it becomes stale, it becomes stagnant. The oxygen in that lake gets used up, but doesn't get replenished, and then it becomes quite a toxic place, especially if you're a little fish living in that river. So the idea is to latch into the flow, but rather than try and pool it and stagnate it, we just encourage it to flow through us and what we're doing, and then on to the next thing. So if we use that idea of the water mill, what we do in that instance is we use the energy, the flow of energy of that river, we wind it around the wheel, which in turn gives us the corn mill, and then we're able to produce stuff from that. So it's not about stealing it and stagnating it, it's about utilising the flow. So how do we do this? Well, simply put, if I want to give something, or if I want to get something, if I give it, I'm going to get it back. So if I want a hug, if I give someone a hug, actually, you know what? I've got the hug, because they've got to give me the hug back. Even if they don't want to give me a hug back, they will. So the rule, or this law of giving and receiving, or this idea of giving and receiving, is all about the flow of energy. Now just cast your mind back, if you can, to the AAA principle. So the AAA principle, I won't go over it too much, basically works on the idea that we all want attention, affection and appreciation. Attention, affection, appreciation. And as a result, in any environment, we get a little bit of an energy drama whereby people want to get that energy, and they're either going to do it by being kind of bossy, they're going to do it by kind of critical, they might play the woe is me card, or they might be aloof, or they might actually be the brain nose and try and falsify someone's good bits. And all that does is generate attention, because they feel there is a lack of attention in the room. So if you're not sure on that, hit the pause button, find the AAA theory, which is part of this session, and just have a little recap, and then we'll carry on. So when I first came across this idea, it was called the day of giving, or the idea of giving. And if you want something, you give it away, because if I give you something, you're going to give me a thank you. You're going to show me some gratitude. And likewise, if I receive something, I'm giving the giver a thank you. So then I realised, you know what, it's not just a day of giving, it's a day of giving and giving. I'm giving to you, you're giving to me, or you're giving to me and I'm giving to you. So really, it's giving and receiving, because in the receiving of a gift, actually, is a bit of graciousness, a bit of grace. So when you receive something graciously, rather than going, oh no, I don't want that, no, you are, thanks ever so much, because you then are willfully accepting it. And when you willfully and graciously accept something, that's a nice thing and a nice way of dealing with it. And that is accepting the flow of energy, because accepting or acceptance of the flow of energy, like the acceptance of anything, the quicker you can get to that point of acceptance, the quicker you get to a peaceful place. So let's talk about, or let's think about, how this giving and receiving can improve our lives and come into our lives and become a habit. Remember, we're all about becoming creatures of habit. Giving and receiving, or this idea of giving and receiving, is a good habit to get into. It encourages the flow of energy. There is that abundance of energy, and when that freely flows, that affluence then flows to you. So say hello when you're walking down the street. Give someone a nod, a smile, not in a weird way though, in a genuinely happy way. And you're going to give them something nice, a nice blessing, a nice greeting, a nice good morning, and they in turn are going to reciprocate. They won't always. Sometimes people will be like, what, did that person just talk to me? And sure enough, yes you did. If you want to be more joyful, do something that's fun. Create the joy. If you want to feel more love, give more love. That can be in a real way, or it can just be in an intended way. Because as long as the intention is there, that's got the seed of genuineness about it. Money. If you want to get money, give money. If you want to get fit, give fit. So let's just use that as an example for a second. If we talk about the flow of energy in material or physical terms, we can say that energy coming in is what we eat and drink. And when we hold on to that, what happens? We get obese. Oh. And in the same way, if we're giving all the time, let's say the output is your exercise. If you're giving all the time but not putting in, then what do you get? You get that anorexic look. So there's got to be a balance between the giving and the receiving. And when there's not, we either get obese, stagnant, or at the end of the scale, we get drained, we get depleted. So today is all about giving, or this week, this step, this session is all about giving and receiving. So how can we apply this into our lives? Well, we can think about what we really want, and then how by giving it, because what goes through us sticks to us. What goes through us sticks to us. If I'm putting out there what I want in there, then that creates that space for it to flow through. Today is all about the exchange of energy. All right, take it easy.